I just had an interesting idea. Yeah, we can edit this out if you want, but just to get a little bit of audience participation, why don't we try and build up a bit of a prompt for Bing AI, and we'll post the result up in the video here. So yeah, this one's for you, chat. Give us some weird and wonderful prompts. I'll put it together. And then I'll pop up the result, and we can maybe vote on the best one.
Yes, people, welcome back to the Interstellar Audio Podcast, episode 6. As last month, I'm joined by ZANTE and 12 Step Audio. We're streaming live on TikTok and Twitch. Head over to the TikTok in future episodes to join in with the chat. Glad to see everybody that's around today. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to cover a bunch of topics, including what we've been up to in IA. We're going to talk about the emergence of AI and how we particularly use that. We will talk about what events we've got going on at the moment as well. We're going to cover some interesting news from around the scene, a little bit behind the scenes as well about running an emerging drum and bass record label. So if that's your vibe, stick around. But before we get into any of that today, just want to pass on some news. At the end of September, the drum and bass scene lost one of its emerging stars in Chill Collective. Sadly, his life was taken too short at 35, 36. Josh was from New Zealand, and when I say emerging star, I really mean that Josh had managed to get, I think, 35 tracks signed in the second half of 2023, and the music that has been put forward by him has been fantastic. We were lucky enough to host a couple of records on Interstellar Audio, and I know that he's got music on GTA, Tech, off-license records, and Liz Play as well. And just on behalf of everybody at Interstellar Audio, all of our crew and our family, we just want to pass on our regards to his friends and family. Big shouts to Roxy, big shouts to Hunter. We're sending you all of our positivity that we can muster. Is a difficult time for you guys right now. And when the time is right, Interstellar Audio will do a project in memory of Josh. But in the meantime, this episode of the Interstellar Audio Podcast is dedicated to Josh's memory. And if you want to support Josh and keep his vision alive, go out, stream, buy his music, Spotify or anywhere else that you want to. Join us and labels like Off License Records and Liz Play. We will be donating 100% of all the royalties to whatever cause is nominated by Josh's friends and family. So, yeah, just it's a big loss for the scene. Josh was a really nice guy. We're really excited to see what's coming next for him, and we wish all of his friends and family well. It's kind of hard to follow something like that up, but I will do my best, and we will move on today to talk in Interstellar Audio Podcast terms. Just do a quick roll call. Shouting out Moon inside, big up. Hey Louise, Rave Monkey, welcome along. Hope you guys are all good. Hope life's treating you well at the moment. Steve Rude inside as well. Hope things are good for you, my friend. So yeah, ZANTE, man, how's life for you at the moment?
Well, life is good. I sort of feel like I'm spending less time on the DJ, more time doing all things side related to music. Hopefully we got the sound levels all right with the music in the background. Chat, let us know if it's a little bit loud. But yeah, for me, the thing that's taking up a lot of my energy and brain power is the singing lessons, making progress in that, to be honest. Once a week is actually rolling around really, really, really quickly, which is good because it's keeping me on my toes. But honestly, it's, by the time you have a lesson, it's learn a few things, go away, decompress, practice, you're right back at it again. So watch the space. Yeah, I'm excited to see where it can go with it.
Good on you, man. We definitely had feedback. People excited about your journey there. A couple of people keen to hear what you come up with and keen to work with you from in the crew. So it's exciting too, bro. Good. 12 Step, buddy, what you been up to, man?
Hello. Obviously, absolutely got to echo your words on Josh from Chill Collective. If you speak for all of us, man. In terms of what I'm doing, a little bit more than last month. I didn't really have a lot to say last month. Obviously got my tune coming on Frontiers that I'm really excited about. First release with IE. I've got a tune on Frontiers called No Matter. There's a couple of events as well that I'm going to be playing at representing IE. We'll talk about a little bit more later on. Liquid Chill is in the works as well. We've got I'll tell you, we've got Kind Movements on the guest mix for this month, which I'm really excited about. If you haven't heard Kind Movements, he's got some wicked mix series on YouTube. And as soon as I had it, was right up the Liquid Chill alley. So really gassed to have him involved. A couple of super secret projects. I've got I'm working on my first recorded track in a while. With me doing like vocals, not singing. I'll leave that to Zante. But yeah, it's the first vocal track, which I'm excited about. So yeah, some good stuff going on, man. Some good stuff going on at the moment. Exciting times. What about yourself, man?
Yeah, sound, man. It's good to hear that. Just got back from Gothenburg in Sweden. Had a couple of days away with my darling wife, which was great. It was good to connect again. Left the kids at home. Found ourselves again, which was great. And on the IA side of things, man, it's been full steam ahead with Frontiers. We're in the promo and press cycle now, which is exciting. Tried to level up our press game a little bit on this one, so hopefully some of those things come off. We've had an incredible response so far from the outlets that we kind of know, and we've had some interest from outlets that we don't know as well, which is great. So hopefully, this comes out on the 1st of November, so hopefully within the next week or so, you guys will start to see tunes or clips or premieres and that kind of thing as we roll through to the release on the 17th. So that's been great, and was fortunate enough last week, as we record this last week, we announced the artwork. So I'm thrilled to be able to say that we were kindly supported by Moonbeam, and I know you're in the chat, so big up Moon, thank you, who came through with an absolutely stunning piece of work. It's right on brand for us. Came through with a few pieces of work that are right on brand for us, actually, and we ended up selecting a piece, which I'll let Tom give the story as to why we selected that piece, because you tell it much better than me. So go ahead, man. Why did we pick that piece?
Yeah. I think for me, I think for all of us really, when I looked at the piece, so you may have noticed if you've followed along with the journey since we started in January, the artwork that we've used has followed a certain theme up until this point. It's always kind of been based around that image of a circle, with kind of imagery inside of that. And what I found when I looked at the artwork for Frontiers was, I think it nicely represents the journey up until now with the reference to the circular format that we've used, circular design that we've used up to this point. But there's kind of a person which I always like to imagine is Cellar in my head, staring through the circle to the new frontier as I see it. So that's kind of where what I think it represents, and I think it's a cool little backstory. So Moon's absolutely done as a top job on that one. So thank you for that, Moon.
The Frontiers train is well and truly going, and where you described the artwork like that absolutely spoke to me as well. So when we were sort of talking about it as a three as to which one we were going to select, that reasoning absolutely sings volumes. So yes, that we were able to work with you, Moon. Thank you so much for your contributions. Obviously, a label in a position like us, we can't afford to go out and commission art for every release we do. So admittedly leveraging the fact that this was a charity album, coming and asking you for your help gratis, and you were kind enough to work with us in that way. So huge love and thanks for that one. That kind of might be a good segue for us to talk about how we leverage AI.
Absolutely. It's the hot topic at the minute, isn't it? Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
Because I work in IT as well, so it's all we're talking about at work at the moment as well. AI. So yeah, I think like you said, it's probably a good place for us to start, isn't it? Especially design. We've recently kind of the graphic designers in the chat will be like swearing at us right now, but we've come across things AI with DALL-E built in. That does some incredible stuff. That does some absolutely incredible stuff. It kind of passed me by, and then Cell was showing me like all these amazing artworks, and I'm like, where the hell have these come from? Like, is he suddenly become like a Photoshop expert overnight. And he's like, no, check out DALL-E, and literally, you put a prompt in. You can be really detailed. Obviously, the more detailed you are with the prompt, the better. And it produces some amazing results. So from a perspective of creating artwork and visual art, it's a great starting point for us, isn't it? To then kind of get an idea, develop an idea, and even give us something we can go to, graphic designers and that kind of thing with it. It's a great springboard for us, I think.
So the other thing it does for us, not just DALL-E, but AI in general, by using AI, it gives us the ability to focus any revenue that we do generate as a label. We're able to make sure that as much of that as possible ends up back with the producers. So we'll talk a bit more about that in detail. But if you think about all the things we have to do throughout a release, right? So we've got to do the artwork, obviously, the copy, the press release, all the words behind the artist bios and the write-ups or the imagery. And you could be paying people to do this kind of thing. But the sad reality of that is that then that eats away into the potential sales, the royalties that we can then pass back to the artists. And to be completely transparent about it, none of our records have sold enough that we would actually be able to fund that. So that would all be at a loss. We've never even generated enough revenue that we'd break even on a release like that. So by using AI kind of sparingly, but also in a targeted way. So far what we've done with AI is, between us, I might have a go at doing write-ups for a track or an artist bio or a press release, and then I'll feed it to an AI like ChatGPT to refine it and turn it into the format it should be, to make sure the language is in the right way that it should be, so that when it lands on the desk of the people that these things are intended for, it kind of fits in with all the other things that they get, so it looks professional, it reads professionally, and the hope is that helps us. Now, if we were a bigger company, we'd probably have a copywriter on our books, or we'd pay in a consultancy firm to do these kind of things for us, but we don't have the money, nor do we spend that money, because we want any revenue that comes in to go to the artists as much as possible, right? So yeah, and then the reason we talk about DALL-E specifically, we were talking about where do we go with the artwork theme. So as you referenced, Tom, we had this circle theme that credit to HK Sage, that was his idea at the start of the year when we first started talking about this project, and we ran with that for this year, but it'd be nice now for 2024 to have a different theme. And so we, leveraging what's out there on DALL-E, trying to come up with a repeatable style that we can kind of have some level of consistency, but also be kind of wild and creative and on brand for next year. So just doing some discovery right now, whether that leads us to just run straight up AI images as artwork next year, or whether it leads us to have a bit of a style pack that we can give to a graphic designer and say, this is the kind of eye we want for next year. That's to be determined, but my primary goal in that decision making would be not to shortchange artists somebody that probably should be theirs, right? So
I just had an interesting idea. Yeah, we can edit this out if you want, but just to get a little bit of audience participation, why don't we try and build up a bit of a prompt for Bing AI, and we'll post the result up in the video here. So yeah, this one's for you, chat. Give us some weird and wonderful prompts. I'll put it together. And then I'll pop up the result, and we can maybe vote on the best one. Nothing official, just a bit of fun.
That's wicked. So on the audience participation, Moon's come in with a killer question already. I'm almost scared to read it. So that is the question: does AI take over the art and music world soon?
Absolutely. There's no doubt, and we've already seen it be integrated into graphic design tools and music production tools. So
I think it's, to be honest, I think it's more about it's. I mean, the thing to remember with AI is as well is what we're seeing at the moment. As impressive as it is, it's the start. It's a fairly new technology. But I think it's kind of up to us as creators, whether that be music, art, all that kind of thing, is to look at how we can work with AI, because there's no doubt that AI can improve what we're doing. So I think rather than it being I envisage it more as rather than a full-scale takeover. I mean, from a music point of view, there's already plugins out there now for when you're mixing music down, mastering music, that kind of thing. There's already been plugins created that use AI to read your mix, give you assistance on how to mix your tracks and elements of the tracks, and things like that. I think you can use that in combination with your human skills, So I always envisage AI rather than a kind of takeover, kind of rise of the machines type thing. I always envisage it as another kind of tool in your toolbox, if you see what I mean.
100%. And where it's at right now, AI doesn't do anything on its own. So there is some skill in using AI to create whatever it is you need to create. Graphic designers using Photoshop to kind of fill in the extra field of the image, or things like that. In music, for example, there's a plugin now, I wish I remember the name of it, I'll link it later, where you can basically drop a sample into this plugin and it will use AI and repetitive sort of attempts, trial and error, to figure out what the synthesizer settings are to recreate that sound. So you can take a wave sample and then you end up with an actual synthesizer patch to recreate that sound, which is, that's great. So things like that are definitely helpful, but they still take the kind of creative brain to utilize it in a way that gets the overall result you want.
Yeah, this is it. And I suppose at the minute, everything you feed into AI is helping that technology progress and learn, isn't it? So if the machines do take over, the masters were on downfalls.
Yeah, so give us your weird and wonderful thoughts, and I'll put them together and we'll see what we get. Do we want to get the ball rolling on it? Like, what is just something weird, something maybe music related or something related to the topic, and we can build on it and see what comes out?
At least with the way AI is at the moment, it still takes some level of creative input to actually make anything from it. And I think there will be agencies out there who sell their services in using AI, so that the end user who doesn't necessarily have any knowledge on how all this works or how capable it is it will still be a better and more efficient approach for them than commissioning a designer or commissioning something like that. If they commission an agency to do the work in 2 hours that would have previously taken 2 days of 10 days of effort, then there's a market there for that. So I think we will see creative agencies leverage that very quickly, if they're not already doing that. Like, to be honest, I'd be doing that if that was my job right now. So,
and it goes back to what we're doing at the moment. Whereas I think previously, even things like copywriting and writing a press release and things like that would have been a very manual effort. And you've probably read these press releases. They're long. Especially with something like with Frontiers, obviously with so many tracks on it, so many eyes involved with it. That's an effort. And I think I know you were saying, so you kind of come up with the idea, put it into ChatGPT, but you can also reverse it as well. You can get something from ChatGPT as a baseline, then kind of refine it from there. So I think definitely, and even in the way that we've used it, you can see in the business world how that's going to, in the creative world, how that's if it makes you more efficient, then it's a good thing, right?
So that getting direction ChatGPT is really powerful, right? So I know that at some point in the previous episodes, I've talked about kind of looking to other labels, other companies that we look up to and seeing what they do, and trying to sort of grow our output in that way. But the downfall of that is if you go and speak to like one person or two people, then you get their just one or two opinions on what should look like. Let's take a press release for an example. You get one or two opinions on what press release should contain and how it should be formatted. You go to ChatGPT and ask the same question. What you get is its viewpoint that's based on an aggregation of every single press release that it's seen and been fed, which is basically everything that was on the internet before September 2021. And then it's kind of analysed that and worked out what the answer is. So if you wanted to go and ask a room full of people their advice and then distill that down to whatever is the best advice for you, well, basically asking ChatGPT is doing the same thing, right? So, and you can leverage that in so many ways. You can be like, hey, here's the data from my Instagram insights over the past year. Tell me what type of posts, what hashtags, what times, what information, what calls to action has been the best, and then it will give you that data. And then you can say, all right, now that you've worked that out, write me 30 days worth of posts that I should be doing over the next 30 days.
I saw a tool the other day. I can't remember the name of it. That's specifically for that, and it was so detailed the way it did it. It will literally write you a full social media strategy. Obviously, charges you for it. It's like one of these 7-day free trial, But it's the way it did it. It looked incredibly impressive. Incredibly.
Yeah, but you can get that ChatGPT for free, right?
Yeah, totally. I think what it is with a lot of it is it's essentially running on ChatGPT's back end. It's just got a nice front end on it, and that's what sells, isn't it?
And also, it knows what questions to ask you, so that it puts the right thing into ChatGPT, and that's that missing piece that I was talking about, right? You've got to know how to use that tool to get anything valuable back from it.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally.
Moon's dropped purple triffids into the chat, which I think would be a good.
I was just wondering what is a triffid?
That's an AI generator there. Dystopian, futuristic. Yeah. So this is where we're going, Moon. Yeah.
Oh yes. All right. That's why I keep looking off to the side here, is because I'm just keeping an eye on that and building these up. So what I've got so far, got middle-aged DJ and a wine cellar. Got hold on, I'll
you're right.
collect them all first, and then I'll generate them. But I have generated this one. I've generated Kraken DMB Happy Birthday. It's produced something really sick. So just wait for that one. I got Kiwi singing over some filthy drum and bass music. Not sure what's going to happen on that one. All right, dystopian, futuristic. I think
ChatGPT can produce presets for Serum. That's dope. I had no idea it could do that.
Really? I'll tell you what is interesting as well on that front, because you can. I only found this out not too long ago, but you can actually take an image and drop it into Serum, and it'll create a wavetable out of the image. So that's going to be my next exploration. Get on DALL-E, get an image, then drop it into Serum, then get a wavetable, and I get a preset from it.
Hang on, so you're going to do like reverse production. You're going to start with the artwork, and then put the artwork into Serum, and then write the tune.
Yeah. Here's the artwork. What's the track? Kind of like this is the question. What is the answer?
Honestly, the possibilities are limitless, because there's so many things that we're seeing right now. So, what else have I used? I've used Hyper, which is an audio to video tool. So you feed it a track, you give it some parameters, you give it a prompt, and then it basically creates like a starting image, and then uses that image to generate as the prompt for every subsequent frame of the video. And you'll see these things, how I've used them as the music videos for the Frontiers EP on YouTube coming up pretty soon. And the results are pretty mad. But, that's like generation 1, like you were saying. So when it gets to the point of being able to just text to video and basically create whatever music videos you want, that's going to be pretty powerful for us too, because the music video production is thousands of pounds type situation. That
mate, I mean, it's sort of these, isn't it? I think especially when you talk about a project like Frontiers, which is obviously for Ukrainian Red Cross, a project like that couldn't happen, or couldn't happen maybe on the scale that we've done it without tools like AI and things like DALL-E and the video creation tools. It couldn't be done to the standard that we've done. I mean, I think it's done to a pretty good standard. I think we've all put a lot of work into it. Probably you more than any of us, so to be honest. But it's we couldn't get it to that standard without having these tools like AI, because it goes back to that question of none of us are sitting on a pile of cash. So,
and I think it's key. It's super important that we try and balance its use, right? So, from the start, was really keen to use proper art, and really thankful that Moon was up for working with us on that. But then we've got to use things like this in balance. We try to do as much as we can in-house between us and our skills and the skills that are in our sort of like harmony of people that work with us. But where we're not experts, or where we need to leverage outside strengths, if we can do that for free, then we should do that for free. And if the way to do that for free is by using AI, then okay, well, that's how we're going to have a go. So trying to balance the human input and the generative AI input is.
I think the Cracker's probably put it pretty well there. If it gets to a point where it's actually hindering productivity and creativity, then that's probably the point that it's gone too far. And I think you've got to draw that distinction, haven't you? I guess. I think if we were too reliant on it, then yeah, we'd kind of be running out of our own ideas. You know what I mean? It's So I think the upshot of this discussion is collaborate rather than rely on, I guess.
Everything in a balance, right?
Are we keen to see some results?
Definitely.
Of course.
I'm not actually sure the best way to share this, so I'm just going to use Riverside's share screen, which may be a little bit hacky, but we'll see what it looks like. So just bear with me. I need to do things.
So the thing about AI, right? I touched on the fact that part of the reason why we use it is to keep the running costs of the label as low as possible, primarily because we want to be able to pay the artists as much as we can, and also secondarily because we don't have the money. But to just touch on that point for a minute, and this is the point where I say outlandish things and I get us cancelled, so hold tight. There's your hook for the video, Tom. So essentially, just a commentary on how producers get paid in the bottom echelons of the drum and bass scene right now. And I'm going to preface this. I'm going to say, I'm sure it's completely different at the top. I'm sure it's completely different in the middle. But where we are and where other labels like us are, there is definitely a culture of every single person in the industry gets paid before the producer gets paid. And to give some examples of that, the mastering engineers get paid, the artists get paid, the press outlets get paid. I mean, fucking hell, £600 for an Instagram post on certain music magazine Instagram page. And, you know, the way the contracts are written for these producers is 50-50 split of royalties of whatever's left after all of the costs have gone. So, you know, that's nothing a lot of the time where we're at. Whether it's really nothing or not, I don't know. But from a producer's point of view, a lot of the time it's nothing.
I'll even kind of point into that and say, if there's even a contract, because I've been through naming no names at all, but I've put tracks out that there is no contract involved whatsoever. So I'm just going in totally blind, which just seems crazy. Where else? In what other line of business would you make a deal with no contract? It just seems so alien to me.
And you get no figures back, like no information about it back. Keep it, you know, how many streams, how many plays, how many buys, nothing.
I've got tracks out there that I don't know what's happened with them.
Yeah,
they could have gone platinum for all I know.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I'll be honest, right? That's bullshit. It shouldn't be that way. So every single one of those people that I mentioned that gets paid, including the labels, I should have mentioned the labels. Every one of those people that gets paid, they wouldn't have a job or anything to get paid or anything to work on if the producers weren't producing the art in the first place. Which makes it completely arse about face that everybody would get paid apart from the person who's responsible for all these people having a job. It's just a joke. And like, not to say this to be all like high and mighty or whatever, but that just doesn't sit with me. So the way we've always, just from the start of it, no matter how small that amount of money is, it's going to go to the artist. We're going to have a contract of every commercial release we've got. It's going to be 50-50. And we're going to actively try and keep those running costs down so that there is something to give to the artist. And then what's actually happened, and this maybe won't happen forever, but what's happened for now is the label hasn't recovered those costs from its 50%. Everything that's come back to the label has been split evenly, and the 50% has been sent to the artists, regardless of whether the label has recovered its costs first or not. And like, my goal is that would continue until such time that we can pay advances to producers when we do sign records and make a different deal, you know, a deal that's like, okay, we'll give you X amount of money to go and make this music, and then after all the costs are recovered, we'll give you 50% of everything that's left after that. So kind of like, you know, still the label's the one taking on the risk. I think that should be the way it is. The label should be taking on the risk, that artists can self-release. There's no reason really for an artist to come to a label other than to help with promotion or leverage networks, sort of kind of pick up on those extra skills that maybe artists don't don't really have an interest in. Like, I don't want to be on social media all the time. I don't want to be reaching out to press outlets. I don't want to be dealing with that shit. So that's why they come to a label to do that for them, and they're willing to give away 50% for that. But that then shouldn't give back. Like, oh yeah, cheers for the tune, mate. See you never, no information about how many streams it's had, how many buys it's.
All right, are we ready for the image reveal?
Yes.
Oh,
So-
God.
All right.
God.
I'm not sure how well this is going to work on my computer, but let's just give it a go. All right. Screen, window. You get a little bit of a taste along the side here. So share. Okay, never mind. Permissions again. It's Mac OS and its permissions. You have to restart the browser. And, oh man, just okay. I'll do it. I'll throw it onto the TikTok one, and we can edit it into the.
Do a couple of bits from the chat here. Big up Vibe. It'd be good, man. I see you inside the chat. Hope life is good. And Kraken said something really nice that I liked, that I wanted to read. Said, money is for the war, art is for the love. Which, I mean, based on where we're at in the world right now, based on what IA's putting a fuckload of effort into, amen, brother. Absolutely amen. Said, I won't be paid. I want the same sweatshirt of Cellar. All right, man. I'll pay you in one of these sweatshirts.
I've been backing up that tree for a long time, Kraken.
I see EMCD inside as well. Big up, bro.
I think it kind of speaks to because do you know what? It's the same. It's no different in the DJ world, really, is it? I've always kind of looked at it in the same way of like, okay, so you go play a night, and there's a lot of the time the DJ will get paid a negligible amount or won't get paid at all. So, and I always kind of think of that as weird. It's like, okay, so the bar manager's getting paid. I mean, imagine you say to somebody, okay, yeah, you want to come work a shift behind the bar? Yeah, sure. How much are you going to pay me? Oh, I'm not going to pay you, but it'll be great exposure for like the next bar down the road. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. You just tell them to fuck off.
Yeah.
So just like, I'd never understand how it's different in the DJ world, and I think it kind of speaks to how the creative arts are maybe undervalued, and they're always kind of looked at as not a career, as or not a viable career,
Yeah, go get a real job, that kind of mentality.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you saw a little bit of it during the COVID, but I think I might have spoke about this last time actually. But you saw a little bit of it in the COVID pandemic, didn't you? All the posters of
Rishi's a ballerina, but he retrained as a pattern.
yeah. And I think it's sad in a way because there was something like, I mean, you look at the contribution from the creative arts to the economy. It's billions, man, and it's not, and it's what it contributes to the economy in the country it just gets swept under the carpet, I think, and it's sad. It really is sad, man.
Can I add a counterpoint to the not paying the DJ that I've seen, which I can understand. So, you got your doorman, you got people in the bar, you've got people making stuff happen, and they're being paid. But being the DJ is kind of the fun one, like you're up there having fun with it, and maybe it's a bit of promotion for you. So you can kind of see why, it's likely the last person to be paid in a setup like that, because ultimately it's just you're getting up, you're doing the fun job. I mean, yes, if you're trying to make a career out of it, you're basically screwed. You're trying to actually pay the bills by doing it. But if it's just the odd time you pop on the decks and get to play some tunes, like, that's a lot more enjoyable than, working hard behind the bar kind of thing.
I think I subscribe to what you're saying there, and I think that there's, for me at least, in how we approach events on IA, there's there's definitely a definitive line. So like, we've never been in a position to pay DJs that have played at our events, and that's a shame. We would like to. We've never made any money off our events. But where the fine line is, I think if you book a headliner and you book a DJ that you're gonna pay, then everybody who plays should get paid. So it's either all or none, right? So our events have been nobody's getting paid, and we've approached everybody to say, we're putting on an event. It's not a financial thing. There's an opportunity for you if you'd like to come and play and be part of the party. We'd be gassed to have you. It's not a financial thing. But if we turned around and then said, oh yeah, but we spent 500 quid on X headliner to come in to sell tickets so that we could put some money in our back pocket, then that's some bullshit. So for me, I think with our events, it's like everybody's getting paid or nobody's getting paid kind of situation. For now, maybe we'll get cancelled in 5 years for being a hypocrite and having done something different. But at the moment, that's how our outlook is. And we're sort of staying true to that now.
All right, so the images are only going to come up on TikTok. But I'll send them to you later. Anyway, let's give it a
I'm ready to see. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, it's going to take over the entire TikTok output. Pray for the windows. There we go. Oh, make it bigger. All right, it's over the top of us, but
Holy
yeah.
That is amazing. We should have sent this to Kraken as a birthday card from IA, man.
What is that one in the fourth
There we
corner?
go.
That's the one, yeah, the bottom right. What? Nice.
Bottom right is chaos. Big up Kraken DNB, mate. All right, let's keep going. So that was happy Kraken DNB, happy birthday. That one.
That's your birthday card.
All right.
Happy birthday from all of us at IA. Big up.
You can probably guess which prompt this was.
Yes.
So can I just give the backstory to why this is funny, because it's a bit of an inside joke. So the whole Interstellar audio thing used to be Cellar selection, which was me hiding in the wine cellar at work when weddings were playing Bon Jovi for the 75,000th time, and I'd hide in the wine cellar and play drum and bass. And so this speaks volumes to me, and I would absolutely be using that as my profile picture if I was still going under that brand.
This was Kiwi singing over filthy drum and bass.
Do you know what? I love how AI has just not quite managed to get decks right yet.
Yeah.
Just never seems to get them right, does it?
It always messes with the text as well. Like pioneer becomes pona.
Hona.
The next one. This was Moon's prompt here. Sick.
Oh, whoa. Whoa, that's sick. Man, that's so cool. So what was that, purple triffids?
Yeah. Well,
Now I know what a purple triffid is.
yeah. Futuristic dystopian futurist.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. I love those. You'll probably see it a bit with my personal branding, or ZANTE branding, is a lot of blues, pinks, purple. That.
Vaporwave, innit? What the style's called. Love it.
I try to lean in a little bit to, the things that have led me to be who I am, which involves being an IT guy, being a computer hacker, and so I really like to lean into that sort of futuristic, dystopian, cybery vibe, which is why, all right, I'm going to try and, so I'm going to remove the images, hopefully, from the screen. There we go, bring us back.
3, 2, 1, back in the room.
I put my phone down, I was just super zoom. Have we got anything else to say about the financial state of play?
Yeah, I mean, only I guess to counter the counterpoint, I suppose. I think it's almost been kind of conditioned into, because of the way that we maybe as a site. I don't think it's just in the UK. I think it's all around the world, really, that we kind of, because of the way that we do value the creative arts, I guess it's kind of almost been made. It's acceptable to and people will go, I'll play for a year for the exposure. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's totally different. I think if it's an event, and it's upfront, okay, we can't pay you, and this is why we can't pay you. But yeah, if it's a club or a promoter approaching you, because I've had that situation before. Okay, do you want to play my event? Yeah, sure. How much you pay me? Oh, I'm not. Or like, we'll see how the night does. And it's like, yeah, I need something more cast iron, mate. You know what I mean? Especially if it involves, a bit of traveling, stuff like that, cost, expenditure, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm always a little bit dubious of kind of making that. Yeah, I'll play for exposure, or it's the fun part. I'm almost a little bit dubious of kind of making that my mind state. You know what I mean?
I'm always quite willing to help as well. So yeah, okay, if I come play for 45 minutes, how much do you really think that's worth? Fair enough. But like, I'll come lug some shit about for you, or help you with the sound or whatever like that. I'll help with my travel costs. I'll stick around for 3-4 hours. You can cover my travel costs, $6,000. Then all right, man, cool. Like that's okay. But obviously sometimes it's worth it for the sort of like networking, and then other times it's worth it because the crew that the promoter that is putting it on is your crew or whatever, and you sort of like working together towards like progression. So I think there's a few different ways to approach it based on like the specifics of each event. But sure, the big boys at the top of the game, they ain't playing unless they're getting paid, apart from when they're playing for their mates, which is kind of the same as what we're talking about.
I'd tell you what is interesting though, another kind of point that I was looking at some of the bigger events. Again, not really mentioning any names, but I was kind of digging into some of the events, and I noticed that a lot of the time on some of the kind of biggest brands in the scene, you will see the same artists on the same kind of lineup in a bit of a different order. And it got me thinking, I'm sure you must be looking at bulk deals for events like that. I'm guessing there's some sort of bulk terms there, to kind of reduce the fees, maybe.
Yeah, and it also helps when like they're all with the same agency that you happen to own as well, right?
You kind of dig into the background, and then you kind of realize, right, okay, so there's 5 directors. All right, that director owns a talent agency. That director just happens to own the club where they do all the events. Right, okay, that director owns the label that all the artists are signed to, you know what I mean? And you realise that at that level, it's all kind of, not kickbacks as such, but it's all interlinked. And it's crazy when you look at that kind of level, the level of profit and how it's all kind of filtered back basically through the same hands. It's quite genius in a way, to be honest. It's business,
I would I'd fully be doing the same thing.
Totally, man, totally.
Hey, do you think now might be a nice time to play Amber Ryan's video around? Seems on topic. What I'm going to
kind of leading into that.
yeah, it felt like a perfect segue. It's a kind of long video, so apologies. But Amber Ryan pops up on TikTok all the time talking about kind of using the community to discover new artists and uplift them as a label. And she has some interesting insights around the music industry. So let's give it a play.
No, this hot take and perspective is definitely going to trigger some artists on this app. But my name's Amber Ryan, and I'm going to break down transparently how I've been building a sustainable career as an independent artist for the past 7 years. And what a better time than to do that while I'm packing and shipping some custom prints and merch to send out to some fans who have been supporting me directly on Patreon and other platforms. We sending out the merch. Here's the truth. The infrastructure that we were relying on in terms of the music industry and record labels is currently crumbling. There's no monetary gain in music streaming. So there's no point in sitting here and complaining about not making the top tier cent on a platform like Spotify or Apple. You need to put yourself in the mindset of using those platforms as platforms of discovery, and then hopefully converting those fans to other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and nurturing them with content and connection, and then hopefully being able to later turn around and create some form of monetization. Utilizing a lot of independent platforms, whether it's like Bandcamp, Patreon, Twitch, any sort of way where your fans or your community can fund your career directly. A lot of people always tell me, like, Amber, it's not that easy. No one's going to spend money on my music. And this is where the work comes in. Of course, you're not going to post music online and then have people that are just willing to buy it. I've been doing this for 7 years. 7 years of responding to every comment, creating Discord groups, cultivating community. 7 years of shipping out just free artwork to fans that are investing their time in me, because I'm also investing my time back into nurturing those relationships with fans. And after so many years and so much of that effort culminated, that's where your fans start to invest in you. That is the premise of that. And where this topic is going to start to get a little bit sensitive is the fact that if you want to build a sustainable career as an independent artist, you not only have to be an artist, but you have to be an entrepreneur. Thing is, a lot of sustainable music artists nowadays, whether it be LaRussell or Russ, aren't artists that are also just releasing music. If you guys have noticed, the biggest names that have that independence and have that complete control are also invested in entrepreneurship and are also functioning off of the basis of like a multimedia company. It's not just all about the music that they're distributing content, creating brand deals. They're building different structures within their business models. Like LaRussell, selling music for anything that you could afford, or selling his merch for anything you could afford, going out and having different mission statements where now he's opened up a restaurant where people could, pay what they want to pay. All these different structures in place and all these different things that they're building that's even outside of just the music itself, like the shows, record labels, media companies. Some people are into clothing brands. Some people are creating their own food trucks. Like, I just started my own independent record label / I don't even know, music community / music collective, underrated artist season. I'm throwing independent shows in LA. I'm releasing music with artists that I discover on the internet. I'm creating a different form of revenue for myself that isn't so directly involved with just the music I'm distributing online. My brand is very multifaceted, and I'm doing so many things outside of just the music. To be an independent artist, you cannot have a codependent mindset. People also start to wonder, as an artist that maybe is under like a major label arm that's only distributing music and only able to monetize for the record labels with their streaming revenues, which is barely anything, as to how, artists don't have any type of control. Just from my personal perspective as an independent artist, I'm creating all these different independent revenue streams, and I'm selling products and selling experiences. But when you put yourself in the position to only be able to monetize off of streaming and not actual fans, you become the product. Like, you don't have any control. And if you're only creating some type of revenue stream to then have to pay a label, you're not going to be able to create any type of sustainability. And streaming, I'm sorry, it doesn't create real fans that are connecting with the music or investing in your brand either. Another thing that a lot of people don't talk about, the biggest way to be sustainable and be able to live off your craft is sync licensing. That's my biggest revenue stream. And I've, been blessed to not have to work a job because I've had so many songs land on TV and like movies and stuff like that. That's another really, really big one and a huge opportunity for the independent market that not a lot of people are talking about transparently. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is there are a ton of independent funding options. There are distribution arms that are willing to offer artists in advance for licensing, part of their catalog or whatever else it is. There's grants. There's independent investors. There's so many different ways to get investments as an artist, as long as you're able to create some sort of buzz around yourself and at least build a little bit of leverage for yourself so you still end up in a good position when it comes to investments. For those of you that genuinely see the vision, and feel the shift in the current music industry, you should feel empowered by this opportunity. Hope this feels motivating for you. I hope you could do a little bit more research in terms of the current landscape of the industry. And I hope a lot of you guys, again, start to feel more empowered by building your sustainable career as an independent artist. That's it.
There you go.
Well set up. I kind of drew some parallels to that. The thing I kind of took away from that is, yeah, she's absolutely right. It's almost like when we moved over from analog to digital DJ gear. You have to embrace the change. There's no point, I guess, kind of sitting there going, well, the music industry doesn't work like it used to, because it doesn't, and it's not going to. You know what I mean? You have to adapt to it, don't you? She's absolutely right in that respect.
Got more power now. As an artist, you just got more opportunity now to go something yourself, right? That saying around, if nobody's going to open the door, go and kick the door in. Even from a label point of view, I would absolutely encourage artists to be out there trying to make something of their own. Like, don't need a label. But if IA in some way can help you get to that point,
except for IA, you need IA.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if for our people and our crew, if we help them take a step towards being in the position where they've got the buzz around them that they can do that thing on their own, then for me that's a victory. Like, if we help the producer achieve that, then that's a victory. And it's a no-brainer from my approach. These absolutely speaking facts. If we take the same approach with the business, just selling music isn't going to make it. We have to offer stuff that's interesting. We have to make a buzz around this. We have to make a kind of movement around it. she's got some good ideas and for things in there that we can probably do. And so we do a bunch of stuff that we think's good, we enjoy, and it's not just about the music, it's about the whole sort of ecosystem around the music, right? The seed, yes.
That's it, man. And I mean, you look at, you even look at TikTok for example. I think just the way that we connect with people on here, and we genuinely appreciate, you know, the support and the connections that we can make with people on here. And you know, I personally have actually, you know, met some friends from TikTok, as well as, you know, managed to expose my music to new audiences. And having tools like that you maybe didn't have 5-10 years ago, you know, and you kind of trying to make yourself stand out as an artist, as a label. Yeah, absolutely, use them, utilize them.
Something I wanted to mention on that was, you're talking about the power of the individual person and in social media, and I had that post go absolutely bonkers on my account. So 640,000 views on something I put together in about 20 seconds with some footage and like a jungle track in the background. But it struck a chord, you know, clearly. It's a snowboarding video from Nintendo 64 game. But the point on that is not, you know, it's not directly related to, oh, here's some mix I've just done, or here's something I'm promoting. You know, it's a tool to get people looking at my stuff. And I you know, track the analytics on a lot of my things, and I could see an uplift in people going to my Linktree, going to my SoundCloud, going to all the connected things. And so if you look back, you know, 5, 10, 15 years, was there ever a tool available to just a person with a phone to present something to hundreds of thousands of people, get their attention for that little moment? You know, that's where the ads, you know, on TV and things, and radio was so powerful. But now we have this power on our phones. It's pretty incredible. It's sort of harness it and to use it, you know, in a organic way. You don't know what's gonna hit, what's gonna not, so you just keep going, and you hope that, you know, an audience builds around that. And it's a numbers game, really.
The first time that I think I was ever in a position where I could say, oh shit, hang on, I can make people that I don't know be able to hear what I'm doing. When MySpace was doing its thing, you could set your MySpace profile so that when a track would automatically play when you landed on it. So that was like the first time you could ever be like, oh, anybody for any reason looks at my thing, hear my music, which you couldn't do that before. There's like, you know, you give somebody a CD, but did they ever put it anywhere? You know what I mean? Like the thing on MySpace was it would autoplay as soon as. So we had that kind of thing right now. QR codes, that too, but see, we've got SoundCloud now, and it's a similar thing. But back in that, artists don't have managers anymore, Caroline says, which is very true. Yes.
To be honest, I noticed that as well. I think it's a bit of an open one. That it depends what type of artist you are, I guess, and obviously what level you're at. But I can still see some value in managers, because, you know, you take, I guess, if you take any artist, your primary kind of driving force is creating your art, isn't it? You know what I mean? You don't necessarily always want to get bogged down in the business and the back end and the business decisions. So I can see, if you're in a position and you're fortunate enough to be able to go, yeah, do you know what? I'll sacrifice X percentage of my income, my revenue, to not have to deal with that, then yeah, I can still see where managers come in.
A good manager should, like a good tax account, a good manager should recover their own fee. So that, you know, manager's primary job now is about maximising the deal you get from a contract. So
this is it. They've got to add value, I think, haven't they, to your proposition?
Yeah, if someone came up to you and they were like, I want 30% of your stuff, What for? So you don't have to have the headache of commercial contracts. Versus if someone came up to you and said, I'm going to take 30% of your stuff, but you're still going to get paid exactly the same, and you don't have to handle any commercial bollocks. You'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, exactly.
You've just put it a lot better than I have. Yeah.
An interesting point on managers that I heard an interview with Tali on. She was talking a little bit about the scene, and sort of early D&B scene, at least in New Zealand, was, very much friend groups, but with those kind of scenes comes a lot of just interpersonal stuff, like, maybe a little bit of scene drama here or there. But she said as things have progressed and managers become more involved, it's just a lot more business. It's managers talking to managers, and it's actually removed quite a lot of that drama around the scene and interpersonal sort of clashing. So there's a little bit of benefit there, like just leave the business, leave the negotiations, the hard stuff, in that kind of realm, and maybe, not everyone is fantastic at that either, because it takes a bit of a personality to, to be a good negotiator, and it can be hard on your own stuff to do that.
I think it's valuable to have a squad around you that have got all the skills that you necessarily either don't have or don't enjoy spending time on, so that you build up a really good offering, whether that's an agent, a manager, a photographer, a producer, whatever. Keep like it's to allow the best for it that's possible. I think it's definitely a good thing.
I think it's even down to like the slog of bookings. I think there's massive value still in booking agents, just not having to, because they do not only kind of secure the bookings, they do a lot of the we've had, how many messages have we had, from from agents?
Even when you reply and say, yeah, we're not in the process, we cannot afford to book anyone right now, they're like, all right. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, I got these guys.
How about now? Have you got $5,000 now?
Yeah, we still haven't had a multi-platinum record, bro.
No. But I think taking that out of the equation, so you know that there's somebody out there handling that front for you, and then they're just going, oh yeah, here's a gig. Oh, nice one. You know what I mean? Taking that out of the equation is I can see the value in that, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Someone wants to come to me right now and say, oh, I'll be your agent, I'll get you 20 gigs. Like, yeah, why not? Right. Well, I have to go out and go find them. Pick up X-Poing in the chat.
X-Poing inside. I'll tell you what, just to speak on X-Poing, I've been keeping an eye on the shows that you're running on Fry, man. You've had some wicked guests on there, man. Was it Lux recently, I think, was on or is going to be on Fry soon?
Last week it was on, and Dunk as well. What a heavy lineup that is.
You had the ladies taking over as well as Foria, Arcturus. Wicked, man. Doing some wicked work over there in Germany.
So last episode I absolutely butchered this and basically asked people to sign up to the Patreon so they'd get stuff. But the thought process there was just about being transparent and genuine, right? But so since then, I think it's worth saying that this episode of the IA podcast is absolutely brought to you by the Patreon supporters. So we have put some time and effort into trying to make our offering back in return as worthwhile as possible. And just to be super genuine and transparent about Patreon, the reason we like Patreon is because it gives us like a consistent amount of income that we can see what it's going to be. So we know what tools we can buy to produce this show, or we can plan for the future for what things we might do. Like, for example, we've got the pre-download series that we'll be launching in January 2024, and our goal is to be able to fund some promo tools for that will make that as successful as possible for both us and the artists. So having that kind of known income each month gives us the ability to do that, because as I'm sure you'll be aware, music sales and streams can be great or awful or somewhere in the middle, but you can't plan off that because you don't know. So big shout outs to all of our Patreon crew, so Katie, Mood, Brushlikker and Arthritic. Big love to you guys for your support, and big thanks to Tom as well for helping me sort out the tiers. Should we talk through what is available right now?
So basically we've had a little bit of a rethink of the tiers. There's a £3 a month tier, 10p a day, £5 a month tier, and £10 a month tier. So really, depending on what your budget is, there's something there for you. And obviously the benefits go up depending on the tier, but from the £3 tier, you've got exclusive content, live streams, and there's already a nice collection of playbacks from our lives stacking up in there that you can check out. That I think Katie's already mentioned. Early access to ticket sales for Interstellar audio events. So we're kind of quieting down on the as you head towards the end of the year on the events front. We've got a few in the diary that we'll talk about a little bit later on, but as we move into 2024, we've got big plans for more events. And the ground crew guys and all the other tiers will have early access to ticket sales, access to the Interstellar Audio Discord as well, which is starting to flesh out a bit, which is starting to look good. We've got all sorts of Interstellar crew and family and producers in there. So if you want to get a bit closer to us and find out what makes us tick, come and have a chat with us in there. Patron shout out, obviously on the podcast, and then moving up to the flight crew, obviously you get everything in the previous tier as well. We will offer feedback on your music, for the producers out there. We'll go through, give you some feedback on your demos, get early access to these podcasts and other content from us as well. You'll also get a release ahead of the public, so you'll get access to our promo, so for the next release coming from us, and that's the £5 a month tier. Then the big boy, the Mission Control, the £10 a month tier. Obviously everything in the previous two tiers. You will get access to the entire Interstellar Audio back catalogue, which is a steal because we're just about coming up to the end of our first year, so you get all sorts of amazing releases in there. Priority demo review as well. So again, for you producers out there that want to submit your demos to us, anybody on the Mission Control tier that submits will get priority. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if you wanted to go in that much detail, but there we go.
The key point is, hopefully we're able to give something back of value to the people that do support us. And if there are other ideas that people have that they'd want back, then let us know, because we definitely want it to be a two-way street, right? So we enjoy doing this podcast. We enjoy doing other things that we do, and make sure we make that possible. So we'll give back what we can. And then also on more money grabbing and trying to fund future projects, we've set up an Audible affiliate link, which will be linked in the IA link tree and also in the show notes for this. But the basic premise here is, if you haven't used Audible before and you go and sign up for a free trial for Audible using the link that's specifically ours, then I think we get a $5, which is pretty great and easy money. So that would be helpful for a couple of projects we're trying to launch. So yeah, if that's something you'd be willing to do for us, then big ups, thank you, and just cancel it. Or if you do actually like Audible, then we get even more money if you stick with it and it works out for you. So nice one. We might do some book recommendations in the future.
I was going to say, if enough people sign up, we'll do Interstellar Audio Book Club.
Separate podcast. Yeah, I'd be down for that, There's plenty of Isaac Asimov that we could read.
Yeah, totally, man, totally.
I'll even get a special expert host for that if we do that as well. So big up to my pops for that one. So yeah, that's the ad read portion. But yeah, only do those things if you can afford them. If you can't and you just value what we do, then the people that do that make this possible for you. So big up to them as well. And if you just enjoy hearing us whine about being middle-aged DJs, musicians, then thanks for tuning in.
Just one last thing that I forgot to mention in the very detailed Patreon advert. There is also on the ground crew and the flight crew tiers, you can also get a 7-day trial on those if you want to just check it out before you get stuck in or make commitments. Feel free to sign up for a trial as well.
Okay. And if anyone from In Music happens to listen to this, just sponsor us, man. Sort it out. And you can give us professional ad reads, and we won't butcher shit like this. So yeah, nice. All right, we've got a couple more topics we can talk about, right? And then we definitely want to do some questions with the crew at the end, because that was fun last time. So just want to bring up a point that I read about yesterday, which is, and it leads on kind of nicely from us talking about revenue streams or revenue platforms that are good for us as creators or labels or artists or whatever. So Bandcamp, we always shout about Bandcamp. We love Bandcamp for various reasons, one of which is that they are extremely fair with the commissions they take. Another one is that they are extremely efficient at how quickly they pay. They pay within like 24 hours, whereas other places it's like 90 days. So, and also they do Bandcamp Fridays on the first Friday of most months. They waive all their fees completely. The artists or labels or whoever it is who purchase their brand receive all the money from that sale within 48 hours number. So Bandcamp is a great place to buy music. And I'm not going to say however, because I don't know yet if it's however, but Bandcamp was sold over the weekend to Song Trader. So there's no news right now on whether or not those practices will continue. But what we have seen is that they laid off 50% of the workforce within 24 hours of buying Bandcamp. So it's a worrying time for the people that work at Bandcamp. If anybody is one of those people or knows all those people, then thoughts are definitely with you, because that is not a pleasant position to be in. It's a difficult situation, but the sort of backstory behind Bandcamp, right? Bandcamp was privately created, a bit of a good idea from someone that had a good idea, and anyway, about a year ago, just over a year ago, they sold it for £300 million to Epic Games. Epic are the creators of Fortnite and a few other tools. But what Epic did was they did commit to continue the Bandcamp ethos, and they have lived up to it. So for the last 12 months while they've owned it, it still worked exactly as Bandcamp should do. So the question at the time was, why did Epic buy Bandcamp? And as far as my understanding goes, this was all to do with a war against the Apple App Store and the Google Play App Store, because those two stores, they charge 30% of the sale fee. So if somebody buys something from Epic through Google Play, let's say, for a tenner, then £3 of that goes to Google Play and £7 goes to Epic, then they have to fund their business. And they took Apple and Google to court over this and said that it was unsustainable because the Epic Games Store is, I think, 12% commission. And so they were trying to argue that that Google Play and Apple were basically extorting, and they should be forced by the courts to change their commission rates down from 30 to something closer to like 15 or 10%. Why does that mean they bought Bandcamp? Well, because when Epic took these big behemoths to court, the courts found that Epic wasn't profitable. So their whole argument was basically thrown out and said, well, your model that you're putting forward isn't profitable, therefore why would we say that anybody else has to do it? So getting to the point, Epic went and bought Bandcamp because they charge on average 12% commission and are profitable. So 300 million that they invested into Bandcamp by Bandcamp was basically to say, okay, now we do have a profitable business model at this rate, so Google and Apple sort it out. And they lost the case again, so now they've offloaded the asset because, believe it or not, Epic Games are struggling financially. They've got no money.
The business model's brilliant, isn't it? You gotta love it. I guess this from hearing the backstory of it, which I didn't know, I guess there's some sense in it going to a music-focused company, isn't there? Because Epic Games is music isn't their focus. I do. It just concerned me a little bit that with it going to a music-focused company, is it going to start following the same kind of practices that other music-focused platforms do? But you can't comment on that, I guess, can you? It all remains to be seen.
Well, I don't know personally, because I'd never heard of Song Trader. Maybe you guys have. I have no idea what their ethos is, what their mission is, what their motivation for buying Bandcamp would be. So I'm in a position of sort of suck it and see it. Until then, right now, I'll still shout about Bandcamp because it is still the best place from an artist and the label's point of view. But may change. The press release was horrible though. They were like, we're pleased to announce that 50% of Bandcamp staff have accepted contracts at Song Trader. And then you read between the lines, where are the other 50%?
That's a glasses half full versus half empty situation.
And I guess it's to suck it and see how that transpires. But it'd be a massive shame for. I've always seen Bandcamp as the more friendly platform, shall we say? So yeah, it'd be a massive shame for that to be eroded. We'll see. Song Trader, don't let us down.
Yeah, whoever you are.
I went to see a movie over the weekend with my wife. It's called Uproar. It's about a teenager and sort of set in the 80s in Dunedin, New Zealand, and it's about his journey discovering he's a creative person. Right? It's around acting, but it can be applied to music or any creative endeavor. And that theme is so strong, about not letting people tell you who you are, and it crosses, into other boundaries around like neurodiversity and all that. Humans are different. Every human is different. If we're being creative and we're bringing creative things to the world, it needs to be your voice, and people need to respect that and encourage that. And we don't need a world full of everyone that sounds and looks the same. We want diversity. We want we want different things. So it was a fantastic movie, and I thought on it a lot. Struck a lot of chords with me personally.
Yeah, I can relate to that as well. Like, I spent my sort of teens and early 20s convinced I wasn't a creative person, and then I went fully into more like analytical work, and now that I'm 30s, the only thing that I enjoy are like creative side of things. I really wish that I'd had that mindset of sort of thinking, well, even if I'm not great at it, if I still enjoy it, I should make sure I'm doing it. So I'd look at any teenage person right now and be like, what is your creative outlet, regardless of what you're doing and what your main path is? I would sort of think that every human being some kind of creative outlet, and thinking of all we are creative beings. We need something, whatever, keep the chi, keep the woohoo in the right place.
Can we have a Frontiers update? So
yeah, we are looking at exactly a month to release as we'll record this, and the mastering process is all done. That was a load of work that resulted in a really positive outcome, so it's worth me shouting out Raph there for over at 1111 Mastering. Been a game changer for us. Raph has basically done us a deal where we can send him as many tunes to master as we want, and we pay a flat fee per month, which is less than we would have paid to master a single release in our old.
That is unheard of as well, pretty much. That is the first deal of its kind I've ever seen. So
the quality is good enough as well, right? We were fairly reserved about what the quality was going to be like, and we thought because of the arrangement would be such a game changer for us, it's worth taking a punt to try and understand. So, we'd been through so many iterations of trying to understand how we could master, because mastering was a cost that we couldn't avoid. Going back to what we were talking about earlier around.
I mean, you take that release as an example to just put it in perspective. That release, I would say how much it did cost us, but if we'd have gone through some of the other mastering engineers who use some of the most traditional routes, we'd have been talking 300 quid on that release just for mastering.
We don't have that. We don't have that at all. That's more money than we've had income in the entire year. So yeah, I can't remember where I was going with this, but we've been through so many iterations of trying to find what the right mastering structure for us was, because it's a cost that we can't avoid. We have to have tunes mastered, and we've been through a few mastering engineers, and credit to all of them, they all did a fantastic job, but for one reason or another it wasn't quite the right thing for us, and we moved into a different thing. We flip-flopped about for a bit. In the end, Tom stepped up to the plate and said, let's do this in-house. Right, I mean, that's been our ethos, right? If we can do it in-house, we will do it in-house. We'll put the effort in so that we don't take the money out. And Tom, you did a great job, man, absolutely. But the volume of this project, like 29 tracks, and we had like 6 weeks to turn it around. That wouldn't have been fair for me to put on you for nothing. So fortunately, Raph has worked out great. And then obviously we talked about Moon, absolutely smashing that artwork situation. And then my focus for this release was to up our press game quite a bit. So I've tried to, the way I've approached every release is to sort of say, okay, one element of the job, I will focus on doing it better this time than I did last time, and then hopefully our whole product will get better. So I put quite a bit of time and effort into press for this, and hopefully the product that I've put out has been good. So we've had a good response. I think we've got like 9 of the tracks lined at premieres at the moment. We've had the DJ mixes turned in by some massive names in our corner of the scene, right? Monte's just turned over a mix of the entire album for us to use however we want. Like Dreams has recorded a a mix out in the autumn woods in the Ukraine for us to put up on YouTube. Jason Inky's rolling through with a mix. Push Sessions has included 9 of the tracks from this album in his latest YouTube mix. And his YouTube mixes get, 5-figure views, right? So these exposures for us are on another level. So that's all really positive, and the artists have been amazing to work with, and people have rolled through onto our Discord from it as well, that, the producers involved have rolled through on Discord, which is building a community. So this project has already pushed the kind of goals of IA forward. And while the primary goal of this project is about music for peace, the sort of secondary goals of this were around trying to help us build that community, move that community on, and those goals have been achieved already with what we've got to release. So that's great. I think we're going to put the album out at £9 for 29 tracks on Bandcamp. It will be more expensive in other places because we don't get to dictate the prices in other places, and less of the money will go to the cause in other places as well. So if anyone's listening to this that is considering buying it, I would highly recommend buy it from Bandcamp, as long as they don't change their processes in the next 30 days. So there'll be a correction in the notes if that happens. And that will, streaming services as well. If you have playlists, whitelist tracks in your playlists, because all those kind of things help the discoverability of these tunes. So the producers that have come on and jumped on board with this, it'd be great if we could give them something back, which is if they get good discoverability out of this project, then that's great for them as well. So, because they're all waiving all of their fees and all of their royalties for this one to support the cause. So, big up to them, of course.
What's the date that's out?
17th. That is Ben 17th November, and super secret squirrel just for the podcast listeners because you're all legends. It will be available on Bandcamp earlier than that. Don't tell anybody else.
Now, I have something to show you. Before you move on, is I've AI generated IA birthday image. Do we want to see it?
Yes, we fucking do.
All right.
Hold on, is this IAAI?
Yeah. There's one element of what it's generated which is so on brand, which hopefully we're on the same page on. But all right, fire it up.
If I don't get whatever this is on a Christmas card in the post from you, so.
Oh, no pressure. I still haven't sent you your signing on bonus, which was a t-shirt. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know what, Ben? That bottom right, is that the new logo? Kind of could be, couldn't it?
Almost, isn't it?
Yeah, these are amazing. That top right one. What?
It's actually nailed the text pretty well on that as well, hasn't it?
Interstellar.
when you zip Interstellar.
Like
what was the prompt for this, Matt?
So I tried a few to get there. The first few ones just seemed weird. But this is the prompt I landed on. Happy birthday, Interstellar Audio, drum and bass music label. And you think the drum and bass music label, what does that contribute to the prompt? And surprisingly, that's what turned it from just a random space image to those circular. Honestly, I wonder if it's actually sort of connected the dots and found some of the artwork online and things like that to produce those images, because it just kind of seems too correct,
Yeah, it's even circular. That fourth one, there's the circle in there and everything, man.
Almost like that's
crazy.
Artwork.
Yeah. Have we got any questions, guys? Any questions from the chat? We really enjoyed answering the questions last time. So if you've got anything you want to ask us, what's our favourite breed of dog, or where do we buy our bagels from? Anything.
Not McDonald's. They don't do them on the breakfast menu
Oh
anymore.
man, do you know what? As a vegetarian, I have a massive pee for the McDonald's breakfast menu because I can pretty much get like jam on
Egg muffin.
bread. Yeah, I don't eat eggs either. Like, not for just I don't like them, man. So I'm like, yeah, I just don't bother.
Oh, Boon's gone in hard with the favourite Greg's. Zante, this might exclude me. You know what Greg's is?
No, go on.
Greg's is like sort of high street budget eatery. takeout eatery, so you get a good coffee. But like,
Yeah, it's all pastries and things like that.
yeah, they do good sandwiches.
Yeah, they do actually. They did this one, the Mexican bandit baguette. That was wicked. They did it as like a limited edition and then brought it on full time. God, I'm so boring.
No, I'm quite keen for the tandoori chicken one.
What would the New Zealand equivalent of that be, if there is one?
I have to Google it.
Yeah.
I'll Google it. I've got a computer in front of me. Like, I've got the power.
So, sorry, to get back onto the actual question, favourite Greggs. Like, to be fair, I'm probably the worst person to ask because I'm vegetarian. So, like, I
Vegan sausage rolls are good.
yeah, but do you know what? Sausages in general are something that they've always managed to replicate quite well. Like, just sausages in general. Like, so genuinely, sometimes I'll be eating a vegetarian sausage. I'm like, I have to check the packet. Yeah, the vegan steak bakes are pretty decent as well. Actually, the thing is, I've been vegetarian for like 5 years now, so I don't know if my taste buds are just messed up. But yeah, vegan steak bake, man, all day long. Oh, do you know what? Actually, yeah, I'll change because they've got a vegetarian version of that as well now with vegetarian sausages. So yeah, absolutely, man. You can't go wrong with anything that's in that. Sausages, beans, cheese, and then put in pastry. Yep.
Great question, Moon. High quality content from IA as always. Does look like it's the only question in the chat.
Big up Moon.
I'll ask a question of myself.
Go on.
Why, ZANTE, do you have CDJ 3000s behind you?
Yeah, why ZANTE?
They're so fantastic, eh? It's just, I think we may have touched on this point last time we chatted about DJ equipment. But it's amazing how slowly these things go. Like the CDJ 2000s, like the Nexus 2s are still the standard club gear. And they're like 10 years old? I've got these CDJs just for a while, borrowed them off someone who's gone away for a bit just to look after them. But it's been good to just get a bit of familiarization with mixing on CDJs. But that price difference between even high-end DJ controllers like the DDJ 1000 up to, the 2000s or CDJ 3000s, just it's incredible, eh? Like how steep.
Yeah, you're talking triple the cost, really. Like a CDJ setup versus an XDJ setup is triple.
That, I think, is from kind of the limited stuff I hear is why a lot of people still have the 2000s on the rider. Because, kind of, obviously, you top-end DJs that are adding thousands per set, but you kind of more mid-level DJs don't have the capital to really have a set of those at home and get used to them. So, whereas they might have a set of 2000s, So, yeah, there's still a lot of DJs. You go to a lot of events, you still see 2000s on the riders.
Still perfectly capable. Barks has got a good question for you, ZANTE. What's the difference mixing on them compared to a controller, or is it just a cost?
The main difference is that screen separation. I probably use this analogy, overcooked this cooking analogy too much, going deep on that metaphor. So for me, mixing on CDJs feels a lot like cooking. Like you've got a pot over here with some carrots, you got a pot over here with some peas, and it just feels like you're sort of more in the moment. You're sort of moving around a lot more. It encourages that sort of feel in the music. I find that controllers to be, while very, very capable devices, it just narrows you down to, okay, I've got everything at my fingertips and I'm looking at this laptop screen if I, want a visual aid or whatever. And so to kind of spread it out, in my opinion, is really nice. And it feels like you're a lot more in the moment with the mixing. So is it worth spending thousands of dollars to have that experience? Probably not for your bedroom, right? But it is a slightly different experience. Yeah.
It's a really interesting analogy. I'd never thought of it that way, but like hearing you say it, definitely understanding and totally agree.
I think, to be fair, they kind of pioneered changed their strategy anyway with the way they market CDJs now. Because I think back in the days when, controllers were as prevalent as they are now, it was all about buying a set. I think they priced them accordingly for the kind of premium home user end of the market, whereas now your 3000s, they're really priced to clubs. If you want something that's high end for home use, you go for an XZ or something like that, don't you? I guess.
I agree, but then that kind of confused me as to why they recently made Beatport streaming available on 3000s, because you don't really think many people are going to do that in the club. So I was quite surprised that they added that.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to introduce that point of failure.
No, but then I guess it's kind of like a direct response to the other brands who have had that kind of capability on all their equipment, whereas Pioneer haven't had it any, and Pioneer's approach is always to kind of start at their premium brand for a feature and then roll it down to the lower capabilities, isn't it? With the exception of stems, let's be fair, they added stems to the sort of DDJ range before anything else.
Yeah, but through Record Box, but they're
maybe that's because their record box stems were shy, so they had Serato to try and figure out how it worked. And yes, I'm a Denon user and it doesn't have stems, so
to be fair, I use Pioneer, but I use Serato, and the stems engine is so much better. So much better.
Both.
I think we're out of questions.
Cool. I don't think I've worked out these outro yet.
I guess we'll just maybe do a little bit of roundup on stuff we've got coming. I have on the 29th of this month, Liquid Chill, of course, the monthly staple, Liquid Chill. Episode 22 episodes. So that means I've nearly been doing Liquid Chill for 2 years now, which is cool. As I said earlier on, we got Kind Movements on the guest mix, and his mix is so nice. It's such a bang mix. I always feel a little bit like when I get such a good guest mix, I'm like, shit, I've really got to step up to the plate here. And I will mention as well, because I was so shite with it last month. Episode 21. With S9T, who stepped up and totally went outside of his comfort zone, did a liquid mix, absolutely smashed it. Apologies to S9T, because we were at Warehouse Project. We went to the big D&B All-Star, worried about Henry takeover. So we're there, stood there in the crowd. Cell, it's got a message off Cell. Liquid Chill's playing on YouTube. I was like, what? Why? Oh shit. So I'd been kind of scheduling it as I was going out the door to catch the train to Manchester, and I'd put it on the wrong day, so it kind of fucks the premiere for that. So I did Scott a bit dirty on that one. So apologies, S9T. But yeah, make sure you go check out that episode, because S9T put in a wicked guest mix for that, and there's a load of tracks from Frontiers on there as well. But yeah, this month's episode's out on the 29th.
We go. I will be at Percy Picklebackers with Hook Sounds on the 4th of November, hopefully with Ruckus and Osmosis MC. We'll do a little bit of an IA takeover, and then I'll be at Organic Sound on the 10th of November. And that's about me. What about you, Zan?
It's just the Workroom one coming up on Friday. And then that's about it from me. Yep. So if you're in New Zealand, if you're in Wellington, come along to the Powwow Room on the 27th, Friday.
There you go. Hope it goes well for you, man. And then the final thought, IA Family Christmas Social at Kino Music on the 1st of December at Basement 45. Be there if you can. Don't sweat it if you can't. I think there's like 30 tickets left, so if you're sort of on the fence about it, grab your ticket now. But that should be cool. We will maybe figure out a way to do like a bit of a Christmas dinner or something beforehand if we can, but no promises, because that might be. But yeah, in the meantime, I suppose we will be back next month, same time, same place. To early access to all this stuff, head over to the Patreon.
Do you want me to go over the tiers again?
No, I don't. Subscribe to us on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube and you made it this far, you're an absolute don. But hit the like, share, whatever. Thank you to Tom for the editing. Thank you to Zante for the production. It's much appreciated. And in the meantime, may the bass guide you, and in the darkness bind you.
Love it. Love it. Bigger boys, bigger people watching.
Bigger.
Bye.
Bye.